We asked you to ask us questions, and now, well, we kind of have to answer them.
If you've been watching, you know we bought this Spanish bungalow about a year ago, and today it's looking and smelling a lot different than it did on the day we closed. One question we get asked all the time is this house a flip or is it your home?
Well, if you go back and watch our earlier videos, you'll see us on the house hunt. We went to 19 different open houses over the course of a few months, and when we found this place, it wasn't even for sale.
In our early videos, we go through the whole story of how we were able to purchase this house.
We finally did it. Signed a ton of paperwork.
We own Casa.
It's ours.
And our intention was always to make it our home, not a flip, unless something goes really, really wrong with our renovation and we have to sell it. But we really want to live here, so that's our plan.
Probably even if we win the lotto.
There's so many things that we love about this house. All of the original details from the 20s, the Spanish bungalow style.
The size of the yard, the garage.
So we're planning to stay here.
Another question we get a lot is how old is the house and have we done any history on it? We do know it was built in 1923. It was part of a planned community, a resort community in Florida. There was a casino and a boat dock, and only 38 homes were built out of the 200 to 300 that were planned, and of those 38, there's only 19 left, and we are one of those 19.
We're still working on piecing together the history of our actual house. We have been to the library. We've also been to the local history museum. Our house seems to be a little bit of a mystery. There's not a lot of documentation from the 20s of when it was built, but we do know who the woman is who lived here before us. We've talked about her a lot. Her name was Marie, and she bought the house in the 90s. And while we were cleaning out the house, we did find some other clues as to who owned the house before Marie. And it was a family, and there's somebody who possibly still lives in town who grew up in this house. So our goal is to find him and be able to talk to him and ask him some questions about what it was like growing up here in the 50s and 60s. And we're hoping that maybe he'll actually be able to tell us who owned the house before his family, because we haven't been able to find that out anywhere else.
Apparently Eleanor Roosevelt stayed at the house across the street, or one of the Roosevelts. Teddy Roosevelt's daughter? I don't know, one of them. There's history all around us except right here.
Yeah, there's a lot of documentation on the other 19 houses that still have survived in our neighborhood, but not our house. If and when we find out more information, we'll make a more in-depth video on that and then share it with you.
Where are we with the project today? So, this is June of 24, and we have the new roof that's still leaking, but it's new. We have new AC, we have new plumbing, we have updated electrical throughout the house.
Where's your voice going?
I'm losing my voice.
Hal's losing his voice.
And we have new drywall in. Right now we're working on skim coating the old plaster walls that remain and blend in the new drywall. Then we're going to get to priming and painting. We've done a little bit of that.
We still have a few big projects to get to. We need to restore all of the wood molding around the windows and doors. A lot of it has layers and layers of chipping paint, so we have to remove that, sand it down, and then either stain or paint it. We also have to restore all of the hardwood floors throughout the whole house. We, at this point, still don't have a working bathroom in the house, so we don't have a sink anywhere or a toilet that's working. We also don't have a functioning kitchen or kitchen sink, anything like that. So we still have some major work that we have to do to make the house livable. A lot of people have asked how the progress with the yard is, and if you've been watching, then you saw that we bought a completely overgrown half-acre with the house right in the middle of the lot, and we did a lot of work last summer to pull down vines and clear the weeds and vines away from the actual house. But since then, we haven't had a lot of time to work outside.
Yeah, we've been focusing on the inside of the house.
We're trying to make the house livable as soon as possible, so that's where our focus has been. But we did get a couple plants as a housewarming gift that we have growing. So we have a tomato and a cucumber that are doing really well, and we're looking forward to having a bigger garden as soon as we can. Do we have a layout or design for changing rooms and taking down walls? We do have a design plan, and we will eventually share it here on YouTube. We are going to share it over on Patreon first, so if you want a sneak peek, you can head over there and join as a member.
We are planning to keep the original layout. We like the way the house is laid out. It is original to the 1920s. There's some smaller rooms, that's for sure. But as we dug through the house and saw how original it was, just the thought of ripping down a wall to open things up, we just thought it should stay the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we never really had an intention of making an open floor plan like is so popular these days. We do want to keep the originality to the house, and we also want to live here for a while before we would make any big decisions like that, to see how the house works with our life and just if we like it the way it is.
Want to be stewards to the historical preservation of those that came before and after and below and above.
Mm-hmm. And we also just want the house to be the way we like it. So, because we're the ones who live here.
Yeah, it's our house.
No. We did mention in some early videos, the one exception to that is we were talking about possibly extending the kitchen, because our kitchen is super tiny. It was built with 1920s appliances in mind. And so once we put our modern day appliances in there, it's super tight. And we don't have a lot of counter space. We don't have as much cabinet space as we would like. But after seeing the scope of all of the repairs that were needed to make the house livable, we have pushed some of those bigger projects off on hold for now. And hopefully one day we'll get to extending the kitchen, but for right now, we have a really, really pretty design that we are about to have installed, and we're super excited about it, and we'll share it with you as soon as we can. Are we waiting on the full house renovation to move in, or at what point do we think we'll move in? We're waiting for a few key things to happen before we can move into the house. Like I mentioned, we don't have a toilet or a kitchen sink or anything like that, so we're definitely waiting for those things before we can move in. We'd also like to refinish the floors before we move all of our furniture in.
And refinishing the floors is really going to be the last thing that we do, because we're still painting ceilings and walls and trim.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see how all of the projects progress and what gets finished, and we'll be moving in as soon as possible. That might be with some of the rooms still needing some work, or maybe the whole house will be done. We'll have to wait and see.
What is your favorite room in the house?
My favorite room in the house, I think, is going to be the kitchen because of the design that we have planned. It is just going to be so pretty, and I'm really excited to see it all come together. But my other favorite room in the house is the studio, because I'm going to be able to turn that into my art and photography studio. It used to be a porch, so it has windows all around, and it's just filled with beautiful natural light. So I'm really excited to be able to work in there.
My favorite room in the house isn't a room. I like the stairwell. I really like sitting on the stairwell when I'm working. That's where I like to take my break, especially in the afternoon. The sun comes through that original wavy glass window. I can look out and see the fireplace. And yeah, that's where I like to be in the house. And the garage.
That brings us to our next question. Some people were wondering what's going on with the Volvo that came with the house.
Yeah, so last summer I did a proper tune-up on it, got it fired right up, runs pretty smooth, but since then we haven't done anything with it.
It's kind of like the yard. It hasn't been the top priority because we've been working on the house so much in our free time, but we still love the Volvo.
Yeah, it's a 1990 240.
Mm-hmm.
So, great car, runs nice. All of you nosy people out there want to know, are we Florida natives and how did we meet? Well, we are Florida natives. My family goes back in this town back to the 1960s.
Yep, and I've lived here in this town my entire life, so it's definitely my hometown, and that's one reason we were looking for a house so hard to buy here, because we really didn't want to move, even though there weren't many houses for sale when we needed to buy one, and that's how we ended up buying this house that wasn't even for sale.
And how did we meet? We met and fell in love.
And here we are.
So you saw some of our earlier videos that I did end up losing my job beginning of the year, and I have since found another job. My career field is actually in career services, so ironically I help people find jobs.
Okay, the biggest question that we've gotten throughout this whole process is, if we knew then what we know now, would we still have purchased this house? And the answer is yes.
Yes. There's a lot of things we would have done different.
And we'll actually have a video coming soon on the top 500 things that we have learned during this renovation.
Yes.
Have to be on the same plane. Okay.
How did we meet? In the womb. We're identical twins.
Ew! If we knew now, if we knew then, if we knew then what we know now.
No one's ever seen us. No, we never said what our relationship status was.
Well, that's true. I think we kissed in the closing video. We're twins. What do you mean, how did we meet?
Didn't that come up?
What?